Okay, so in this lesson, we're looking into importing audio tracks into our session and start learning how to use audio files. It will be very exciting because now we can add the real voices to this song. So we have our bass, we have our percussions, we have our glockenspiel, which take care of all the melody and accompaniment. So let's see how to import the track. For doing so, you should have already downloaded the resources. You download the song files that you find at the bottom of your lessons. And so you download these files, and one thing you need to do preliminarily before doing anything else while you're downloading is you are on your Ableton session, you go under Live Preferences, which is Command and Command, and you click on one of these tabs, the one that says Record, Warp, and Launch. What's this page? These are preferences, so it's advanced settings. But why do we need it? Because when you import an audio file is being recorded at a certain beat, at a certain tempo. And it's not like the MIDI tracks that you can change the time and beat and they will change accordingly. If an audio file has been recorded in a different tempo, different speed, then if it is imported in a session where the speed is different, you will have problem of syncing. It will sound a bit odd. So the settings that I would like you to have as a base setting are the settings of the warp and fades. We would like the warp to be set for short sample on auto, but for long sample off for the time being. Then it might be the case that we will turn it manually, but we want to first have the original file untouched into our session. The default warp mode is important because it's how the software for adjusting the time will understand your audio is set now on beats. You can leave it there. But if you are importing like melodies, maybe you want it to be tones or textures, or if it is a very complex track, you might want to use complex, so a lot of things at the same time, pitch, rhythm, etc., etc. These settings, I will recommend to leave it like this. And so make sure you have checked this screen or take a picture of the screen and then do it on your Ableton. So the next step is to go into our folder that we downloaded. So I'm going to go to my folder, which I place somewhere in the desktop. And I have different tracks. You might see that I have a little few more because I already done this a few times. But what we want is the wave file of the ukulele. And we want to prepare Ableton to receive this track in the timeline view. And we drag the ukulele into this area where you say drop file and devices here. You just drop it as it is. And as you can see, the audio file that we dropped in is like a clip, a long, long clip. And it's not warped because that's what we told them. So we drag this all the way at the top of the track. However, there are some adjustments to make. First of all, we want to be warping. And I know that I recorded these files at 118, so they're properly matching. If the session was 96, 80 or a faster tempo, by pressing the warp, it will stretch the audio. In this case, nothing happened because it's exactly the same as I recorded. So the next bit is to align this to the track. And the ukulele starts basically after a loop, and we can put it here. So I think it's here. So you need to look for this point into the track where it changes. So technically we need to move it a little bit before, and let's see when it changes at the chorus. So let's measure exactly where to place it. We left basically 2 big bars, and then we started from there. And that's where you should do it. Eventually you can also do this. So look where the name of the clip is, and you trim it all the way till here. Not maybe not entirely on it, but yeah, we can do that too. Doesn't matter. Interesting, if you zoom in by clicking and dragging there, you can also have these little squares here, which are fades, which we can just adjust to avoid any clipping in there. Remember, the audio always does a little clip if it's not starting from 0 volume. Sounds like your ukulele is on the right place. Okay, we have another track of ukulele, which is called ukulele 2, which you do exactly the same. So you bring it all the way down, closer to there. You then zoom in and make sure it starts from there. Then we can also trim it. And if we want, we can give him a little bit of fade in. And that is important because there are overlapping ukuleles on purpose. So you the audio that is not here is covered by this other track. In fact, if we listen around there, you can tell. So let's see if we follow it correctly, the structure. So we have an intro, then a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, then again another verse and another chorus, and then the bridge. So I think there's something that we need to change here because we need to have verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, and then we need the chorus. So this thing that we did last time, it wasn't exactly correct. So the chorus is here. Then we have a gap of 6 bars, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see how many of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can drag this here. So how I duplicated my chorus? By simply selecting all the bars that you need and all the stems. And then you do Command D and it duplicates. Or Command C, and then you go to the point where you want to copy and you do Command D. We saw this in the other lesson. And this should match exactly the song. Perfect. So let's move on. And again, we can do the same trick at the end of the track and remove all these blah, blah, blah here. And to make sure that everything's fine, we do the fade by dragging there. The fade is something magical. It's like an automatic volume that brings down to zero the audio, so to make it very clean and neat. And you can adjust the curve of attack. So this will go down very quickly. This is normal, and this is very slowly. So I usually leave it in the middle, but you can decide the exact curve that you need according to the space that you need, that you are using. Let's look for a moment at the audio track. The audio track is different than the MIDI track. If we create a new MIDI track, so we go create, insert MIDI track, you'll see that it has the same structure. So that's the MIDI track, and this ukulele 2 is an audio track. They have clips. However, in the MIDI track, if I double click, I can create a new clip. In the audio, it's not possible because the audio is not created automatically. You cannot write audio. You can record audio, but not write it with a pencil. So it doesn't allow you to create clips. You can only create when you record a clip. The MIDI track, as it is when it's naked, when there's nothing in there, doesn't have any sense. And it has the mute button, the solo button, record button, but it doesn't have the pan, and it doesn't have any volume. Of course, nothing is coming out of it. However, when a MIDI track receives an instrument, so you plug in an instrument, so let's say instrument, so any type of instrument, let's put another bass there, you see that it changes and it looks like identical to the audio track. And why is that? Because a MIDI instrument it looks like identical to the audio track, with only one difference, that it doesn't receive audio, but it receives MIDI. But it now can deliver audio. And why is that? Because an instrument is something that you can play, and to play you need the MIDI, so the input is MIDI, and to play back audio, it needs to have an audio output. And that's a bit explain the difference between MIDI tracks, audio tracks, and instrument tracks. At the moment, I delete this MIDI track that we don't need. So we have 1, 2, 3 instrument tracks now and 2 audio tracks. Let's put some more in the next video.